Hello, everybody. This is Debbie from Teacher Success Coach with another episode of the Female Educators Roundtable on a Wednesday. Because on a Wednesday, we look at women empowerment. What are some of the triggers that have made some women become empowered? Or what have actually made them to begin with disempowered, that at this stage they're back trying to find their voice and reclaim their power? There are a number of reasons. For me, one of the factors is, yes, I was very confident woman, etc. But when I spent time to go and look after my mother, when I came back out, I realized that I had to become empowered. Because when you take time off as a woman, especially as a woman, you become disempowered by society. And as a result of that, you have to reclaim your power. And I felt that is what I needed to do when I came back into education. Because when you do not have financial stability, you don't have a voice. And society reinforces that by how they see you as a person. You become a no person. So those are some of the reasons why A, I started this platform, and B, I start coaching women to remind them of their power and remind them that they need to reclaim their power and stand in their power and make no apologies for standing in the power. Thank you. Welcome, 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 Mary. Thank you for accepting the offer to come online to share your story with us. Introduce yourself. Tell us what part of the world you come from. And start your journey.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary. I'm from the UK. I live in Wales. I'm 33 and I've got 3 beautiful children.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And what have actually triggered you to become empowered? Why did you want to reclaim your power as a woman? What were the triggers?
I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. My story from birth until the age of 4, I was abused by my mother and multiple of her male partners. I was in and out of foster care, but always given back to her. Then, when I was 4 years old, the monster under the bed came alive for me, in the form of my stepdad, who thought that it was okay to abuse me sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally, anyway, in the form of abuse. I had it from him, but I was still having it from my mum too. In and out of foster care still. And then she had gone into hospital for a procedure. And after constantly being told if I was going to tell anybody that she would be taken away from me, that, even down to the point that I would get in trouble if I was to say anything, then that brought on that I was to blame. But that didn't matter because I needed to tell somebody. I didn't want to be that little girl in a window looking at other children play because I wasn't allowed out. I didn't want to be that kid that was left in the house on her own while her mum and stepdad went out and had food and I had nothing. The little girl that was in the back of the car when her mum had bought her a puppy and the puppy had messed in the house. But it was a puppy. But I was the child in the back of the car, waving bye-bye to that puppy when he threw it out of the car on the motorway. So I spoke up and I told somebody. And in return for me telling somebody else that was older than me decided that they were going to abuse me in my foster home. I don't know how I would have worded it back then, but wording it now, I didn't have a clue what was going on.
Mm.
I think I knew that it was wrong. Obviously, I definitely do now. But back then, I don't know how I would have worded it as such. But then it wasn't long after I moved from that foster carer's house and I went to another foster home because social services had finally said that they weren't giving me back to my mum.
Okay, right.
I was 7 and she threatened to kidnap me from school. So social services went to the courts and they got a care order placed on me.
Okay.
So that meant that the local authority became my guardians.
Right.
I then went on to have 32 different foster homes.
Ooh.
And that was up until the age of, I want to say 18. But if we go back a little bit, I went back home to my mum when I was 14.
Okay.
It was strange because I wanted my mum. My
Mm.
mum had abused me. My mum had put me in harm's way. Mum didn't care about me. She just left me. But I went back home to her.
Mm. Why do you think you went back home to her?
Because I wanted her to be the mum that I needed.
Right, yeah.
But I didn't get that. But I need to go back to when I opened up about my stepdad. I opened up to my foster carers in 1996. I was 6. I went to the police. They had evidence. They had reports upon reports. It goes to court. It gets thrown out of court.
Ooh.
Because I am too upset to be placed on the stand, which was an excuse because at the age of 6, you wouldn't be placed on a stand.
Mm.
And it would be detrimental to my mental health being cross-examined.
Age 6, yeah.
For me personally, there was no reason for it to be kicked out of court.
Mm.
Then, when I returned home to my mum when I was 15, the abuse started again with her new husband.
Ooh.
But also involving my brother and my sister, my younger brother and sister. And because I was your regular teenager, I would get...
You were. You're, okay.
Oh, sorry. Don't
That's
know what
fine.
I froze
That's
then.
fine. That's fine.
Sorry, I've just gotten brain fog.
That's fine.
So yeah, the abuse happened at home. I was your regular teenager. I would go out and get into trouble. Yes, I would run away from my foster carers, but that was because the trust was broken. The trust was broken from that first foster home. You know, I go from basically from the fire into a fire pit. If you look at it in that sense, right? So I wasn't your good teenager, you know. I was very rarely in school, but a lot of that was down to moving foster homes. And I went home to her then, the abuse, and I started ringing social services, asking them to remove me. I asked them to put me back into foster care, and they left me with her for a year and a half.
Whoa.
I had school teachers that witnessed me having black eyes from where my stepdad was physically abusing me. And it took for my school and for me to say that I was willing to leave where I was, staying with my mum, to move back to Wales. So I was like, well, I will move back. I will. And they said, okay. They took me from there. So I went from my mum's and I went into a foster home. I went to school. I finished my GCSEs. I went to prom. You know, but sharing that part of my life, that shows, you know, like finishing comprehensive school, doing my GCSEs, actually coming away from school with GCSEs.
Fantastic.
Going to my prom. You know, that is massive. But then, because I've been kind of brought up on the rough side of life, I have so much love to give. Right? And I got so much help that I want to give people. And the thing that's making me shout this is my stepdad and my mum took away my innocence. They degraded me. They made me feel like nothing. And then my adult life hasn't been much different. Been raped multiple times as an adult. I've gone through domestic violence as an adult. In 2015, no, in 2011, I reopened a case against that man from when I was 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
Can I share the journey of that with you?
Yes, you can.
So in 2011, sorry, I rang the police force in my area and I reported him as if it was a new crime. Because I had tried previously, because I said it was a historical case, they kept telling me no, they kept shutting me down. So I rang the police and I said I wanted to report my stepdad for sexually abusing me as a child. They came out to see me and I told them everything.
Mm.
They took my statement the night that they came out. I then had to go down to the police station to be interviewed further 3 times via video, so it could be all recorded.
Mm.
For them to work on it for a year, even arrest him, and the CPS come back and say they can't prosecute him
Why?
because the time frame that it had happened in, basically because it was an historical case, there was no new evidence. But there was new evidence because there was stuff I could remember that I couldn't potentially put into words when I was 6 years old.
Mm. Mm.
So after he got arrested, he was bailed. He was debailed and everything when the CPS dropped it. Nah, he's not going out there to hurt anybody else. No. I weren't having that. I weren't having that CPS guy tell me no. I've had a life full of people telling me, no, you're not going to do this. This isn't going to happen. You're not going to turn into anything. Nuh-uh.
Mm-hmm.
So I fought. And I went to his boss. His boss took my files home over the weekend and went over it. She came back to me and said no. So I requested her boss's details. This was a process over 3 years. Yeah. She came back with the same no. But this time, I'd done some research and I asked her why. Why can this not?
Mm.
He's literally like, I'm a glass and he's taken me, right, and he's just dropped and just let me shatter. Why does he get to get away with that? And why is he allowed to stay out there and potentially do it to someone else?
Mm.
Now, I wanted to be that person to take that right away from him. That thing that, he can't do it to anybody else.
Mm.
And she cross-examined me on the phone as if I was being cross-examined on the stand. And you know what? I'm not. This is no word of a lie. I answered every one of her questions. I had an answer for it. There weren't anything that she said to me that I couldn't answer.
Mm.
Because I had gone through all that. I had lived with the monster. I'd lived the nightmare.
Mm. Mm.
Do you know what? She said it could go to court, that she was going to put it forward. And it went to court. And in 2015, that man was convicted to 7.5 years in prison.
Wow.
20 years later, he got a conviction, right?
Mm.
And in the mix of getting that conviction, I had a mental breakdown. I'd lost my 2 children. I turned into a raving alcoholic.
Mm.
And you know what? I now have my three children. I have a home.
Mm.
I wake up every day and it's like, I'm here. I've survived it. And I'm grateful that I've survived it because I'm here now sharing this. And I guarantee you it is going to resonate with somebody, right? Somebody maybe that hasn't shared that they have gone through something horrific. But please know, not on your own. You're not on your own. I thought I was on my own. I weren't. there are others. You know, abuse happens in many ways, shape and form, and
Yep.
it happens worldwide.
Yep.
It's not just going to be like in your area, in my area. There's other places where it's going on, and us speaking up now, right? It matters because this is us taking back control.
Yeah.
Because who run the world? If the shoe fits. Do you get me?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have gone through, I want to say I've gone through hell and back, right? Maybe twice, maybe 3 times over. I am still stood here. So if I can get through all that dark rubbish, right? So can anyone. You know, and the reason why I wanted to come on this call is to share my story, to let women see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Right? And do you know what? Life right now, for me, is good.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I never thought I'd really say that and actually mean it. You know, but I do. I feel pumped. I'm talking quiet because I've got the little one up in bed, but I feel pumped. You know, I've got so much fire in me. I just want to help so many people. You know, I run a survivors group. It's a safe space. If anybody wants to come in, feel free to inbox me or even inbox Debbie, and you know, we can reach out to each other and we can get you in. It's not a problem. It's a safe place. Come, you know, if you want to come and share your story, come and share your story, or come in and read others' story, you know, because I've met another survivor that I look up to quite a lot. She, in my eyes, is an absolute queen. From where she's come from to what she is now. And I suppose we could all do with that person that's there speaking and just letting it come out, because that's how it flows. Because like, that's been my life. Saying all that to you on here has been so easy because it's just what I've gone through. You know, and if I share now and it helps one person, it helps 10 people. You know, I just want to help.
Thank you. And you know, the beautiful thing about that is it actually empowered you to start the group, because you realize that you are taking your power back. And by taking your power back, you actually stand in your power and set up the group to help other women. That's the powerful thing about it. And, you know, the other beautiful thing, the fact that after 20 years, justice have been done.
Yes.
So anybody out there, you know, who've had situation like that, do not be put off by the no's, because too often that you're being told no, but you persevere. Irrespective of the no's you got, you still push forward, which is a sentiment to you, still push forward in spite of the no. So all those things empowered you to keep going, because it's not easy. When anytime you take it to someone that says no, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to give up. But you were so empowered by you're not giving up, because for you, the thing was, you don't want anyone else to go through what you've gone through.
Yeah.
And I must say, well done to you, because it is not easy. And this is something I said in a live a few weeks ago. When we talk about abuse, abuse could take so many different forms. The physical, the emotional, the financial, all of that. And there should be no excuses to justify what someone else do, because you could be abused by your sibling, you could be abused by your parents, as you've just demonstrated.
Yes.
You know, anybody, you know, your sister could abuse you. It could be a physical abuse, an emotional abuse. You know, your parents could abuse you. Those are the ones that are supposed to protect you, but yet still, you know, you feel vulnerable in their presence. And if anybody feels triggered, I've actually put something in the group, because I also do therapy session on a Monday, every other Monday, and we also have a talk therapy group. We also have talk therapy counselors, etc. And the number is on the page. I've actually just shared it. So anybody who's going through those situations, and then you could reach out to Mary, because there's so many support out there. You do not have to go this journey on your own.
You're not on your own.
Exactly. 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 And a few weeks ago, I had another woman, Nalia, who was also, you know, the same situation in terms of abuse within culture. And those, you know, on my page that you can actually reach out to. Do not go it alone, because, you know, and this becomes a generational trauma. Because you decided you want to break the curse, so you actually break it. Because or else it'll continue to go on as a cycle. It goes from one generation to another generation. Because exactly, because everybody is keeping the family secret.
I don't know if it's because of what I've gone through. Is obviously that is why I'm the way I am, right? But the way that I've become is, if you don't serve me, I'm not going to have you in my life.
Mm.
I've had so many people come into my life, be like, we're always going to be there for you. Do you know something? The only person that was there for me was me.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, there was foster carers, but majority of them, they're just for the money. You know, they just wanted the paycheck at the end of the month.
Mm.
But they weren't looking after me. I was looking after me.
Mm.
You know, if they were looking after me, I would have known how to have cooked a meal for myself when I moved out, when I was of age. I think that was 17. I was 16, nearly 17. And I couldn't cook anything.
Mm.
You know, I didn't know how to pay bills. And if they had have invested time in me,
Mm-hmm.
I would have known how to cook. I would have known how to pay my bills. Do you know what? I have a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old who all know how to pay bills.
Mm.
They know how you pay at the shop. You pay with your card. You know, they know how to put like electric on your electric key.
Mm-hmm.
That's what children get out of when you invest time in them.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, it's all about giving my children everything that I didn't have.
Mm.
Do you know what? It's everything. But if I can go from that you know, the little 6-year-old girl that was quivering in the corner, to a girl who won't be silenced, then anyone can do it.
Yeah.
So get that fire in your belly and start shouting. Because I think it's time us women take a stand and put a stop to certain things. And the only way we're going to do that is if we unite together as one.
Yep.
So let's do it.
Yep, that is so very true. And, you know, that is something that comes up in most of the show on the Wednesday, that as women, we need to combine as a group, because who gets, you know, what gets in the way a lot of the time is women get in the way of other women, you know, either because of a jealousy thing, either because of feeling threatened, you name it. It could be any one of those things, you know. So in terms of what Mary said, it is very true. As a group of women, in order to be empowered and to remain empowered, we need to support each other. The support is very, very necessary.
Can I just touch on the jealousy part?
Yeah, sure.
I don't think anybody has the right to be jealous of anyone. Do you know why? Because each of us own our own lives.
Yes.
And instead of being jealous, go make your life like that.
Exactly.
You know, the things that you envy of people having, you know, like a nice car, or, I don't know, a nice home where it's big, it's got a big garden, you know, whatever it is, go do that yourself, because you can. Everybody, right, is born to be uniquely different.
Yes.
Be bold, be brave, be you.
Yep.
Don't try and be like anyone else. Go and actually be you.
Yes.
And you know what? When you actually start being you, that's when you will actually truly succeed at life. Because that then becomes a time where you realize what matters, what doesn't matter, and what you've got to do. Because all that matters is what you do. In your bubble, it's you. You're the top. If you're not okay, your bubble's not okay. You know, so yeah, just take those words. Be bold, be brave, be you.
It is very, very true. Because as I say something similar, be brave, be bold, be positively blatant.
Oh, I like it.
Bold, brave, positively blatant. Because initially I was saying to my student, be bold, be brave, be blatant. And I said, Miss, you know, blatant, you know, could also be quite negative. I said, yes, let's change that. Be positively blatant.
Yeah.
Make no excuses. Do not justify. Because too often as women, we are constantly explaining and justifying our action. I said to two of my clients today, stop justifying your action and your decision. You do not need to explain, nor do you need to justify.
You just need to own it.
Exactly. And especially as women, we need to remember that. We need to just own it. No explanation, no justification. And sadly, we do that too often, always in a need to please other people, because women have been conditioned and programmed that they must please other people. No, you don't. No,
why do we need to please anybody else when it's our life that we're living?
Exactly. And need to be liked, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I need to be liked. I need to be liked. Yeah.
Bold, be brave, be you in your circle.
Yeah.
Your people. people will find you,
Yep.
and those will be your people.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So each and every one of us are going to have different people because none of us are the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody is individually different,
Yeah.
individually, you know, okay. A wording that stuck with me is deliberately different.
That's nice. I like that.
Deliberately different, right? And I think that's something that should be shouted, because everybody should be deliberately different, because nobody's meant to match. Nobody's
Exactly.
meant to be the same.
Yes,
You
your
know,
hands are not the same.
the world would be boring if everybody was the same.
Yep. Yep. So very true. Because within you, you have both hands and they're very different.
Yeah.
Your legs are very different.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
Exactly. They're very different. They're very different. Yep. My both hands are different. Yeah. One is larger than the other. Yeah. They're very different. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
They're not the same.
Exactly. Exactly. And they're in you. So therefore, why should you try to be the same like someone else?
I don't want to be the same as anybody else. I want to be different.
Exactly. 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 Thank you so very much. What 3 suggestions would you give women to enable them to empower themselves?
You matter.
Mm-hmm.
What you have to say matters.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest one for me, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are led to believe that nobody, like whether you're going through domestic violence, like, you know, being segregated from your friends, or they don't want to talk to you, you know, putting little thoughts up in your head. Those thoughts are not real. Your friends are there. You know, don't let anyone make you feel like you're on your own, because I promise you're not. And literally, my inbox is open to anyone that needs, whether that's a rant, whether that's just you know, send a voice note and just scream down the phone. I don't care. I'm there. And yeah, that's it. I'm there. You know, you're not on your own, because that was the worst bit for me, was feeling on my own.
The feeling of isolation, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, it's not good. It's not healthy.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Mary, for sharing your story.
Thank you for allowing me to share my story.
Yes, yes. Thank you for accepting the offer to come on. It is so important that as women, you realize you are not alone. And as women, it doesn't matter what type of abuse, you need to talk about it. It could be physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse. All those abuse affect the individual, and it becomes a generational trauma. If you do not break the trauma continues from generation to generation, and you need to break the cycle. The only way you're going to break the cycle is by standing in your power and speaking out. Because when you actually keep it, you are actually hiding that abuse. You don't want to tell it. You are protecting the secret. But the minute you speak, you begin to break it, because you're saying, you know what? I need to tell someone. I need to speak it. Carrying it alone is a heavy load. You do not need to carry that load. You do not need to carry the load. If this have triggered anyone, as I said, I've got on my page, on the Facebook page, I have got a number which there are counselors, there are therapists who would be able to help you. Also, every other week, we run a therapist group where it's a closed group where people come in and share their story and discuss it. And if they need any individual help on a one-to-one support, then they would actually be referred to a therapist or a counselor, because this could be very triggering for some people, and some people probably have never spoken out. It is important that you do not keep the secret. Right? Do you want anything else you want to say, Mary?
Just, no, thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Facebook people. And as I said, if anybody was triggered by that, reach out to Mary, reach out to the number I put on the page, and you'll have someone speak to you. It is so important that you do not carry the load of an abuse. It doesn't serve you. Your mental health is far more important than protecting the family. Remember, you do not need to protect anyone except you. Take care, stay blessed, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Oh, shucks. I wasn't meant to.